Hey y'all, today I'm going to be shooting this. This is a Bear X Intense, and overall this is a crossbow I've used actually for a few years now. Usually my kids use it. Occasionally, like I'll take it out. Like last year I had some issues with my bow, so I was out of commission for the end part of the season, so I had to use this. And over the years I've harvested uh, several does with this thing, and a groundhog I shot once, so it's pretty accurate. I mean, I've shot everything between, you know, 10 yards up to over 45, so it's been a good crossbow. Shouldn't have any issues with it. It's just season's about to open up, so I just want to get it tuned in, make sure everything's good. Alright, so I do need to make a couple adjustments here. For some reason it's shooting slightly high, slightly left. So, put this in my pocket. I'm going to try a different target this time. I'm going to go bottom right. Alright, so I just got done shooting this, and if you watched that video you probably know I ran into some issues, which I was kind of surprised by. Um, I don't know what happened between last season and this season. Maybe one of the kids were messing around with this thing in the basement. Who knows? But it was off. I had a lot of trouble getting it sighted in. And at one point I did switch out the bolt because I've got a bolt that I use specifically for decocking this thing. Well, I'll explain why in a second. But uh, and you know, the fletchings on that, it kind of get like a burn from the foam or whatever. But so I assumed that was it. I switched it to one of the arrows I plan on shooting, a brand new one, or not arrow, I'm sorry, bolt, and it was on point. Um, Kicked it back to 35 yards, shot it again, exactly where I wanted to put it at, and then I decided to jump back up to 25 and put the decocking bolt on just to see what happened, and that one shot accurately. So no idea what's going on there, why it gave me so much issue this morning. It did eventually get to a point to where it's shooting good, so we're gonna run with it. It seems like it really excels at like 35 yards. I don't know why, but every year I've actually shot it at targets, like 35 seems to be like the sweet spot for this thing. but it can definitely shoot a lot further than that. I mean, you've got four, the way this scope works, you got four dots in here, and they're like big circular dots, so I mean, you could really tune this thing into, I think, what you wanted to. The one thing I did mention, though, about the bolt cell, and this is the one drawback to this crossbow, is Bear has what they call the True X, and instead of the standard, like, you know, little half moon thing you get here, they've got this really deep cut nock. I don't know if you can see that, but they recommend, there's like warnings here, says use these specific projectiles. Honestly, I think you could probably shoot the normal bolts and it'd probably be fine, but there is disclaimers all in the box when you open this thing about using those specifically. So I'd rather just buy those, use them. That way, if there ever is a problem, that falls back on the product itself, the bolt. You know, not an issue where it's like, oh, you were using the wrong, you know, the wrong bolt on it. But yeah, overall though, I mean, I've been very satisfied with this, and it's taken a lot of deer, man. It's a machine. It's cool, and you know, one other thing too that I like about this as well is it doesn't have the big wide stance. You probably have seen in the video. I'm not going to caulk it right now, but I mean, when this thing is caulked, like it's pretty tight. So if you know, so if you do have to use it from like a tree stand, a saddle, it's pretty easy for that because it's movable. It is a little bit heavy, but overall, good product. Like I said, I'll be curious to see next year if I have any issues with scoping it in or any issues this year shooting it, because this is the first time I've ever had that happen. I was getting a little worried there for a minute, but it did eventually settle in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing lubed up, get the strings waxed, and yeah, it'll be on standby for the season if we need it. So hope you enjoyed. Please feel free to drop a comment, like, subscribe, and of course if you have any questions about the Bear X Intense, please feel free to reach out and let me know. See what I can help you with. See you out in the woods.